We had a security guard, a military guy with us, and a bulletproof UN vehicle, all of that. Meets a complete idiot. I am saying that online.
I've never seen it that way. It's really funny.
Forget the CV. The CV is going to tell you nothing about the person really. I don't need you. I'll put artificial intelligence in the business, a sexy sounding voice in it, and we'll close deals. Putting more money in lead generation, which is a mistake.
Today we're having the pleasure of meeting with Dr. Anan Menon to ask him about more insights about the Dubai real estate market. I personally was trained by Dr. Anan Menon in 2016 and 2018, which is what made me understand and learn a lot about the Dubai real estate market. And one of the reasons that I'm here where I am today, because of this man. So Dr. Anand is one of the international trainers for the UN, for the Somaliland government when it came to IT. He trained more than 50,000 plus people all over the world with more than 15 countries. So Dr. Anand, how are you?
Well, thank you for having me on this podcast.
It's always a pleasure to have you. Just for me to ask, first international trainer for the UN.
Yes.
Can you please tell us?
Okay. I would say first international trainer for the UN to Somaliland. I'm sure the UN has worked with a lot of trainers in a lot of countries. So particular to Somaliland, yes, it was a very interesting episode that happened. Somaliland, you see, a lot of people are not even aware it exists as a country. It's on the border of Somalia and it's looking to break away. So the government there was actually looking, their government was not officially recognized around the world at that time. That's why a lot of United Nations missions, UN missions were happening there. And they wanted to start with the banking sectors, the telecom sectors, IT, so that these people could actually open up and bring the giants from the world in there. And it wasn't easy to get a trainer who was ready to go into a country that is not officially recognized as a country with a lot of drugs on the streets and all the money. They had no banks. There's no banking system. All the money was on the streets with exchanges. And everywhere we went, we had a security guard, a military guy with us, and a bulletproof UN vehicle, all of that. But it was an experience. You know, life has to be built on these also. You can't always be sitting in safe, fancy five-star hotels and doing the stuff. So I went in there. When they approached me, I found it a very challenging project, but the reason I really took it is I've always wanted to give people chances so that they can go to the next level. And when a country was going to reach out through the UN and they wanted to have an initiative, there was no way I was going to say no to them. I must say it was a completely different experience. Never had it again, but it is a very attractive jewel now that I have in my crown in terms of training achievements. So it was a fantastic experience, no question about it. I never actually did it again after that. But if I had to be called, would definitely jump on the plane.
That's really good. So you're the CEO of Empowered Performance.
Correct.
And you're giving training not only to real estate or developers, you're giving trainings to companies like Emirates, companies or banks like Emirates MBD, RAG Bank, Amar, Damak when it comes to real estate. So you're not only focused, because we all know that you're one of, if not the best, real estate trainer in Dubai, but most probably people know that you're more into real estate.
Yes, I think that we can put that on technology safely. See, I've been training for over the past 25 to 26 years. We were not so technologically advanced 20 years ago, neither did we have the same visibility. Probably if we had this back then, there would have been a very different profile of Dr. Anand because the Emirates Airlines would have been out there, all the banks, the RAC Bank, the First Abu Dhabi Bank, all of them would have been there, 60 schools and colleges that I work with, hotels, all of that would have been out there. It's just in the last few years that podcasts have started to take center stage and it's become very visible out there. And in the last few years, particularly in this part of the world, a lot of my business engagements have been happening mainly with real estate companies, both developers as well as agencies, local as well as international. So I think today people resonate and connect my name more with real estate, with selling investments and sales for homes, whether it is a primary from the developer or the secondary.
Which is something I personally can relate to, because when I first took your training, you were not really focusing on sales itself as much as you were focusing on the person, on how to become a better salesperson in a specific way, not just to try to sell and that's it. which made sense.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I still do a lot of that, but right now, you see, I think it's also the profile and the nature of the industry. Real estate tends to be high visible, okay?
Yeah.
Brokerages, they do a lot of social media, online promotions, so therefore there's a lot of activity and buzz online. So it's just natural that when we are some of the few people who are frequently called into podcasts like these, it's just out there.
Yes.
And then everybody being networked are forwarding it to the others. And I just met one lady in an agency whom I'm going to start working with next month. She said, I listen to you when I'm driving to work. I listen to your podcast when I'm in the gym. And we've been hearing this from a lot of people. So that's why I think now that real estate stamp has been firmly placed on me.
Exactly. I still have one of your training recorded on my phone. I had that in 2018 when we were trying to sell a specific product when we were selling Heart of Europe. And it was one of the hardest
group.
It was one of the hardest thing to sell.
The floating seahorses.
But I didn't sell the floating seahorses when I took the training, but I sold 49 studios.
In Côte d'Azur.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it made sense because when I was listening to that, back then, basically your experience grows every single day. And every single time you educate yourself and you become better, listen to people who have more experience in specific field, you become a better sales agent. And which is something that brings us to the second question. Like right now, what do you tell brokerage or developers who don't really train their sales team?
I think it's a pie in the sky, a dream if you are expecting to have your brokers or salespeople represent and reflect your brand accurately, genuinely offer a level of service to buyers and sellers that is actually fit for a city like Dubai, which is one of the top 3 cities in the world today. So if we are simply looking to put bodies on the floor and they are going to pick up the phones and call the millionaires and the billionaires and the celebrities of the world, you are going to hurt yourself. Long term, for sure. Right now, the industry is excellent, so we are able to pull people in. So just because you're closing deals, it doesn't mean that your boys and girls are doing a great job. Yes. Today, the world is convinced about Dubai and everybody is relocating and coming into Dubai. So when people are coming in, there is a natural need for many people to rent homes or to own their own homes or for commercial spaces because they want to do business in one of the best environments in the world. So people talking to your broker or your salesperson or walking into sales center doesn't qualify that you have the best salespeople on the floor.
Yes.
And when the demand is high, yes, I understand why some of these companies who are not long-term visioned don't want to invest in their people. But the markets will always have the ups and downs. And when it's in the downtime is when you're going to be really, really hurt because you're left with a bunch of average people who never even understood how to engage a millionaire and bring him to the table. And when the millionaires are not showing up, they're never going to be able to bring them. So my response or advice to these kind of companies is invest long term. You'll put millions into marketing above the line, billboards all over the city, hype. You'll do shows in the Coca-Cola Arena, at the Atlantis. You'll go into Maidan. You'll do international roadshows. All of that is fantastic, and we want that for business. But how much do you put below the line in helping your people become ambassadors for your brand, for the city of Dubai, and to be there as genuine advisors for your clients? Almost nothing.
Exactly.
So the money goes above the line, you create the hype, someone responds to a campaign, comes to your sales center and meets a complete idiot. I am saying that online. He meets that guy, and now his disillusionment has set in because now he was looking forward to that great opportunity, and I find a guy in front of me who doesn't understand his own product himself.
And he's representing Dubai. And at the end of the day, he's representing Dubai. And whenever you speak with someone who doesn't really understand what's going around them, and he's saying, this is my profession, you become more like, it's not working. Until you meet someone else, and then you get the idea of, they know how to work.
Also, like I mentioned in the beginning earlier when we were just having a chat, What developers and brokers need to keep in mind is all these people who are coming to buy have bought property before in other countries. Yes. They have had exceptional brokerage experiences and sales experiences because they've met well-trained, ethical, extremely well-presented, good-intentioned salespeople in all those countries. They have those frames of reference in their mind, and then they come to a city like Dubai, where the city today is attracting people.
Yes.
So they come to a city that is matching the best in the world. It fits with the frames that they have about cities in the world. And then they come to that city and they see a salesperson or a broker who doesn't fit in the frame of the experiences they've had. And then they are disappointed.
And it should make people disappointed. Like right now, we see some of the agents out there focusing more about, so when they're trying to sell you something, they tell you, look, it's only 600,000 dirhams. And when you check the square foot price, you're going to find that the square foot price for this specific property, which is in subprime area, not the best location, not the fanciest outcome of this product, and they're selling, for example, 2,500 per square foot. They tell you it's a very good offer. How did you manage to say that this is a very good offer? And from my point of view, if we're speaking about, because we spoke about that a lot, if we have in the past months only 17,000 transactions, and we have, for example, 17,000 agents, then every single agent sold one unit. And we have in the market right now, I believe not less than 60 or 80.
Officially registered agents, legal ones who should be the only ones selling, is around 16,500 agents. We've got about an additional 60,000 who are freelancers, or they're just doing it privately or illegally. So I wouldn't want to call them part of the real estate market. They are operating from the outside of the market. They shouldn't even be doing that. That's the first thing. And some of them will not be happy when they hear me say this on air, but I have to say it. Now, when we're looking at the remaining 16,000 plus brokers that are there, I would say about 20% of them would be active and professional at what they do. So we're talking really active professional brokers in the market. You're talking something like around 3,000, 4,000 brokers in the market. So that then puts into perspective the volume of the transactions that is happening. Most of the others, they will close one and they will lose 20. But the really professional ones, they'll meet 5 and they'll close 2.
Okay, because I heard you once saying, if you have a team of 10, correct me if I'm wrong, please. If you have a team of 10, you will have 2 top agents, you will have 3 or 4 average, and then you will have those 4 agents or 3 agents that you're going to keep on
churning. You'll have to do it. I'll add to that a little bit. So that's the 80-20 rule, the Pareto rule that comes. Yes, 20% of them will be really good, focused, serious, learning, good networks, consistent, disciplined, and they are actually generating bulk of the revenue. 80% of the business of that brokerage or that developer is coming from the 20% of that sales force. Okay, the remaining part of it will generate about only 20%. Now, the bottom portion, the bottom 4 or 5, if it is 10 brokers, the bottom 4 or 5, you have to look at them carefully because there's 2 types of brokers in there. One, someone who should leave the industry. They wake up in the morning clueless. They don't even know why they're here. The only reason they come to the office is to spread negativity, to waste time, and to change the whole environment in the company and give excuses for everything that's not going right. So those are the kind that need to go out. But in that bunch, right there at the bottom, because the numbers are not on the board, there will be a few bright people. They're just new to the industry. They're just new to, they might have switched from car sales into real estate. They still don't have the network yet or the expertise. Therefore, they don't come in those top performers. But they're great people. Yeah. So I have to be able to separate these two because I want them. These are people who are willing to learn, put in the hours, good intention in terms of giving high-value products to the clients. They will eventually move into the second category. And then some of them would go into the first. Those I want to keep. I cannot expect them to come in and start hitting numbers immediately. But yes, there are the ones who I know who just make the excuses, they drag their feet, and they demotivate others. They need to be out.
And is that why usually developer leave some of the agents for 3 months, and then from there they can decide if they can continue or they should leave.
Actually,
right?
I don't agree with that practice which is done. And you're right, a lot of developers or even brokerages. If you are saying, let me hire someone and then let me wait for 3 months and see if this guy will deliver, then I seriously question your recruitment approach.
Exactly.
Okay, yes. I don't want to be hiring people and then spending 90 days with these guys, investing in them, generating leads, and dealing with all the excuses on the sales flow and the negativity that they would bring in. I don't want that.
Yes.
What I want to do is make sure that I evaluate my recruitment processes so that I'm now only interviewing skill and behavior. Forget the CV. The CV is going to tell you nothing about the person really. It's just an informal picture that you'll get. The real meat is when the guy walks in to sit with me. So my interview process, I'm not interviewing to find someone who might be successful. No, wrong thinking. I should be interviewing for the winners. For the people who have the potential. They will still need the 3 months because they might not yet have enough exposure to the industry. So my expectation that they will close in 3 months is not because they will prove themselves in 3 months. It's because there is a natural gestation period. There is a time element required to be able to learn the industry, crash, burn, and learn, do some real-world training in your calls, meetings, etc., build your network, and then the numbers will start coming.
Yes.
If I hire because the guy is not going to close and then I'm going to terminate in 3 months, that's a bit of guesswork there. It should not happen that way.
Okay, so in order, or top 3 things you find essential for someone to looking to succeed in the real estate field? This is a question that I would want to know the answer for. What is one thing that you will be looking in to find in a salesperson? And this is more important than sales.
That is more, it's easy. That's easy to answer. It is not just sales, it's in life, it's in everything. You could be in IT, you could be selling fruits and vegetables. It's attitude. Attitude is my number one. In fact, one of the top 3 that you were asked, I was going to give you attitude trumps every single thing else. Give me a boy or girl who's got attitude and 0 skills, I will make them winners. Give me people with experience in the market and a lousy attitude, there is no way you're going to enter my company. This is number 1 for me. Attitude. In fact, I'm going to quote Victor Antonio. He's America's number 1 sales coach today.
Yeah.
He had said this. I remember asking him many years ago, I said, Victor, if there's only one thing I could tell my salespeople, what would that one thing be? He said, only one thing? I said, yes. He said, tell them to upgrade their attitude or downgrade their expectations. Brilliant. Upgrade their... He never told me, tell them to pick up telephone skills, how to conduct a presentation on a Zoom, how to qualify clients. All of this can be picked up if the attitude is correct. Yes. So he said, upgrade the attitude or downgrade the expectations. To me, that is the number 1 thing that I would look for in any human being, regardless of the discipline. It could be someone running a daycare for kids. I want to see attitude. This is number 1. To go back to your second question, you asked for the top 3. I actually have top 5. And this is the 5. And to make it easy for our viewers also to remember it, it's simply A, B, C, D, E. I could go up to 8, but we'll keep it just to that. A, we have already talked about, it's the attitude. I need the right attitude. In fact, W. Clement Stone, who was the richest man in the world when he was alive, he lived in the US. He said sales is dependent on the attitude of the salesperson, not the attitude of the prospect. Listen, I'm a buyer coming in. I'm hearing stories in the market. I have friends whom I trust. They are giving me perceptions. It may not be built on fact, but they're my friends. I trust them. Yes. Or I burnt my hands in a bad investment 5 years ago, so I have the right to feel upset. So a client can come to you with any attitude, but you can have only one, the right one. So for me, A. B is belief. The belief is in multiple things. Firstly, when you wake up in the morning, you've got to believe that you are in one of the best cities on the planet. The world believes in Dubai today. There is no city on the planet that can literally compete with us today. We've got the Singapores and the Miamis who are still holding. Last year in the Economist survey, top 10 power cities, Dubai was number 3. We are ahead of London, New York, Sydney, Paris, Tokyo, Toronto, Johannesburg. We're ahead of all of them. But London is a 2,000-year-old city.
Yes.
Paris is 1,800 years old. New York is 500 years old. Even Singapore has taken 85 years to become who they are. We did it in 27.
Yes.
So for me, you need to understand the city in which you're operating. The millionaires and the billionaires of the world are leaving their countries and bringing their families to the UAE. Yeah. The Henley and Partner study, we're always in number 1 or number 2, Sydney being the other city that is attracting the mega rich. Yeah. So these are the two. So how come these people with all the resources and the ability to walk into any country because they can buy residencies with real estate investment? How come they're choosing Dubai? Mm-hmm. So it's a very clear statement. The millionaires of the world, the top cities in the world are all pointing their finger to Dubai. Mm-hmm. What about you when you wake up? How much do you believe in your own city? Mm-hmm. This is the starting point. Because the attractiveness of any real estate opportunity is directly linked to the attractiveness of the city. I could give you an iconic villa built to the highest standards, but it's in North Korea. Mm-hmm. There's no way you're going to get anybody to put their money. But it's an amazing villa. Mm-hmm. It has got everything you need for a great lifestyle, and it is built to excellence. Mm-hmm. But the attractiveness of the country where it is built kills the opportunity. So how could you present lifestyle and communities in Dubai when you are not even on fire for your own city? Yeah. So for me, the belief in the city. Second, belief in this industry that you're in. When you wake up in the morning, you have to be an ambassador for Dubai as well as real estate. Yes. And third, which is probably more important than all this, belief in yourself. Mm-hmm. You've got to wake up. Remember, your client, the millionaires and the billionaires of the world, have very high belief. They are confident people. They are in control. They're well informed. They have a goal orientation, and they want to work with people who are like them. Why would I work with you when I can see you don't even believe in why you woke up in the morning?
This is very important because, again, I've seen you a lot speaking about it. I speak about it myself a lot. If I'm going to a meeting and I think that I'm not going to close, I'm not going to close.
100%.
It's as simple as that, because an investor, specifically people who have the money, they can literally feel your energy.
Exactly, of course.
And they can tell you're here to sell or you're just here to... And that's why I always say, deal with your buyer as if they're a buyer. Like, your client is always a buyer until he leaves and until he tells you, no, I don't want to buy. But the moment he's here, because no one is going to window shop today when it comes to a property. If he's here, there is a probability like 90% they're going to buy unless you didn't qualify in the right way. Again, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, there could be a few things that went wrong, but you're right. As we are millionaires today, yes, right? We all are investors ourselves. We got our own properties. Mm-hmm. We don't window shop like that. Yes. Okay, I'm not going to get into my car and give 3 hours to you in the middle of the desert because I'm just looking.
Yes.
We don't do that. Yeah. So let's just go back to your criteria. So we had the attitude, we had the belief. The C stands for competence. Okay. I would like to add confidence and consistency also in that. But competence, essentially, you got to be seen as professional. You got to know the trends, global trends. Today, you cannot just know local trends. Yes. We are a key player in the region. We are a key player on the world stage. The best countries in the world are investing in Dubai. We are the number one on the planet with foreign FDIs, but greenfield FDIs, which is startup investments. We're number one today, right? So the world is believing in it. So I need to be able to understand the trends. When interest rates are still not coming down across the world, why are people still buying here? When there is a recession that has been hitting countries and some of them have actually announced it, why are we still doing so well? When politically we have situations happening around us, 1/3 of the whole planet is going through elections this year. New presidents will come out, which means global policies will change. With all of this happening and a future uncertainty, how come Dubai is breaking the mold? So you have to know trends. You should know global trends, economic, political. You should know regional trends, market and lifestyle. You should know Dubai trends. So that is part of competence. The second part of the competence is the approach that you use in your buying and selling. I need to have tried, tested, evaluated, and proven techniques that actually help my client make the informed decision. Don't sell, help your clients buy.
Yes.
And the third thing which comes under the competence is understanding the psychology of decision making and the personalities of your prospects. People buy from people they like, but people like themselves.
Exactly.
So I need to understand who is this person. To you, it's just a sale, but he's going to bring his family and kids, his wife and kids, and he's going to have to live there for 5 years. Don't sell him something with which he's stuck because he cannot even resell because you know you gave him crap. So the psychology, how do people make decisions? Is my client left-brained in his decision-making? Is he right-brained? How do I use language influence? Because we all associate meaning historically. So understand power words, which are the right ways to frame sentences and questions. That's all part of the competence. Because think about it. The villa is a good product.
Yes.
But how do you communicate to the client that it is actually good? It's through the language patterns, it's the choice of words and the framing.
And depends on his personality as well, because
Correct.
again, if you told someone because it's 30% less in the product or than apartments, some people will be like, I don't really.
It doesn't work. So I'm saying that if you have to be competent today, it's not just about the selling process. It's about that human engagement, and it's also about understanding the person who's making the decision, and it's putting everything in light of global trends, because we are a global city today. So that needs to come in. If it was just easy to learn a selling technique and go and do it, I don't need you. I'll put artificial intelligence in the business, a sexy sounding voice in it, and we'll close deals.
Yes.
I mean, today we do a lot of our buying online.
Yeah.
And that is the future. And with AI coming in, more and more of that is going to happen. And AI today is beginning to look more human than actual humans. AI is sensitive to patterns, to trends, through language, emotions. AI is looking at that. And we have salespeople who are behaving like computers with no sort of understanding of emotion or behavior. So AI is more human today than our humans.
So computers are becoming human are becoming robots. So that's the three.
That's why I'm excited. AI should come in fast.
Okay, so ABC.
And D, discipline.
Discipline, yes. Important, very important.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable when you look at these salespeople. Remember who you are working with. These millionaires and billionaires did not get to the top of the food chain by being random and casual and undisciplined in their approach. So you got to understand, people buy from people they like, but people like themselves. They find it hard to even come into the office on time because the attitude is not right. I don't get salary, why should I come? So number one criteria has already fallen. Everything else will fall apart. And it never fails to amaze me, never fails to amaze me. I'm going to say it, and again, a lot of people will not like it, but it needs to be said. I watch the patterns and the behaviors of salespeople when they come in. They'll walk into the office at 10 o'clock Ramadan. So they'll come at 11 o'clock. If it's a 9 o'clock start, they'll come at 9:30, 9:45. What's the first thing they do? Go to the coffee machine. Why, you don't have coffee at home?
Yeah, you should.
You have coffee at home, right? Yes. So why should your first act when you come into the office be a time-wasting act? Because after that, they get the coffee, then they have a cigarette in their hand, they look for somebody else whose time they can waste, and that whole gang will go down there, and they'll spend 20 minutes down there sipping a coffee, smoking a cigarette, and talking about anything which is non-productive. That's your first activity of the day when you come in. I know how the rest of your day is going. There is no discipline with these guys. I actually know a sales guy who actually made a commitment to himself. I will only make my coffee in the office after I made my first 20 phone calls. Now, you know what's the power of that? It's the same coffee. But when you come in and you want the coffee, but no, you're on the phone, you're talking, after that, that coffee feels like a reward. It is the best tasting coffee on the planet. It was the same thing, but you earned it now because you did paytime activity first, then you made the coffee. Believe me, that will be the best coffee. There's a sense of satisfaction when you have it. So that discipline in their planning, in their follow-ups, in their activity management just doesn't exist. And E, for me, is evaluate and evolve. Most of them will not even ask themselves, okay, at the end of the day, I'm going home, I made a few calls, I spoke to a few people. Was I effective today? What did I actually achieve? You cannot control the result. You want the 200,000 at the end of the month, you can't do anything about that. All you can control is your today. And every single day, what should I be doing so the 200 shows up? That is not even planned. There's no evaluation because the discipline does not exist to conduct the activity and evolve. So what changed in the last 6 months in you as a salesperson? Experience happened, but experience will happen by nature. I can sleep and come for 2 hours to work. And I can do this for 3 years, so I've got 3 years experience.
Yes.
But what is the quality of the experience? How have you grown in the process? What two selling techniques did you learn in the last 1 month? YouTube is full of it today, right? Which was the last sales book you read? What's one skill or one thing about you as a salesperson that is different from last year? How did you evolve? Nothing. So for me, these are my top 5 criteria. There are 6, 7, and 8. We'll stick with these top 5. It is not product knowledge. It is not just the selling process. All of that we covered under C, competence. All of those come when my attitude is right. You can have the best training program in your agency or development office. You have a person with the wrong attitude there, he's not picking any of it, guaranteed.
And
even
not
if
only that, they make other people as well. Like, for example, my first experience in Dubai real estate market, first thing I got from one of the people who was working there for a year, why did you join this company? You're gonna lose a lot. And this is the first thing that I got from this guy. And if my mindset was like, where did I bring myself? And I took it like, he's been here for the past years, and he's saying that he's definitely not doing good. Everyone is not doing good. I'm gonna leave. But from my point of view, what I told him then, you've been here for the past year, but why didn't you leave if it's so bad? And then he started like, yeah, because we're not doing this and this. And I'm like, it's not my problem. And impressively, I was lucky enough to close first deal in the first 7 days. So then from there, I started taking like a little bit of, okay, more positivity. And then it started working. And now I own my own company. So it works.
It's just attitude, right?
Yeah.
They're saying, I don't have this, I don't have that. Okay, go out and get it.
Yes, exactly.
Go out and get it. Okay, you don't have to be spoon-fed by anybody in this industry. It's your life.
Exactly.
Who's going to take accountability for it? It's your family.
Yeah. Commission or salary in the real estate field?
Commission.
Why? Because a lot of people say, okay, I'm not gonna work only on commission. For me, it's weird. If you're a salesperson and you want salary next to a commission, it's weird.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, listen, if you want salary, you're already telling me I'm going to sit at a desk and you'll give me money which I'll put in the bank. I'll pay my credit cards, my rent, and my etisalat due bills at the end of the month, and I'll put food on my plate. No. The real salespeople are commission-driven.
Yes.
Why? It's not because I want to give you commission to make you work. Real salespeople are driven people. They have an entrepreneur mindset. This is the understanding that must come through. It's not that as a company, I don't want to give you a salary. We give salaries to employed people. Okay, look at an entrepreneur today. The only 2 professions on the planet where you can write your own check is a business owner and a salesperson. Why? I am not limited to anything. I can decide how much I want to make. I can create the channels to get it for me, and I will do it. No entrepreneur gets a salary for himself, right? He doesn't eat if he doesn't do business, and that keeps him awake, energized, creative, out of the box, competitive, and he goes after what he wants. That is what I'm rewarding in the business. People who are commission-driven carry that personality. That's the person I want. I don't want someone that I have to babysit in the business because the salary is not big enough to give him a good life, but it is okay enough to stop him from going out there and performing. Yeah. So people who are saying salary, this is happening for 2 reasons. There are some companies who don't have the ability to attract the really good salespeople because they don't have the tools in place or the legacy of performance. So what do? I'll attract you with a little salary. You've hurt yourself already.
But so I've seen those companies, and most of them, basically, they lost all the money.
They had to.
Yeah.
They had to because the money was being put in the... That's why I said you've hurt yourself already by bringing in people who have told you clearly, I like a desk job.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have been brought in. So for me, I'm 100% clear on this, commission.
Okay. So if an agent or a realtor came to the company and first thing he asked about, how many leads am I going to get?
Okay.
Is that the most important thing, or they should more focus on building the network?
No, I think you need both here. Okay. And what's the reason for this? So you have to be able to evaluate in the interview what's the intent behind the question. All right. A lot of people are asking, how many leads will I get? So there's two types of people. One is I'm lazy. I will not go out and do my own work. I want you to put the bread on my plate. So I need you to spend money. I need you to create the leads. I need you to give it to me. I'm not going to do that. If you will do that, I'm coming to work. So the intent becomes that kind of guy. Get him out immediately. I don't want him. There are some others who are saying, look, I recognize the intent. I recognize that you are established. You have a 15-year legacy in the market. Your reach right now compared to mine to consistent and genuine buyers and sellers is much more than mine. I will get there. But I am an opportunist. I want to rise fast. I will do my networking, but I want to know if you as a company that's been here 15 years, how can I leverage from your intelligence and expertise in the market so we both can make money? That's a different person. So the intent behind is what I would probe a little bit more to understand. And so I want to see which angle they're coming from. So if it's the second one, I'm happy to have the conversation with you.
Yes, but with today's market, if we're speaking about generating leads, is it as strong as it used to be 5 years back? Because from my own perspective or what I've been seeing in the market, for example, you used to spend 50 to 100 dirhams per lead in order to get a qualified lead. Now, in order to get a qualified lead, because of all of that real estate agencies that started like new in the market, they're spending a lot of money to try to bring leads, which increased the cost of every single lead to be qualified. And still, it's not as it used to be qualified. Like, for example, you can spend 1,000 on one lead and it's not qualified.
Okay, see, there are many answers to this. The first one is, I think today a lot of companies are putting more money in lead generation, which is a mistake. Why? They're not putting money into ensuring my recruitment is correct, so I get great salespeople who can effectively convert and manage my leads. So I'm just hiring anyone and everybody in the market in the hope that 20% of those boys will close deals. But I have to generate leads for everyone. So what happens when only 20% of them will be effective converters and the rest of them are average? A lot of my leads being generated are going in the bin. I do not agree that that lead is not a good lead. Millionaires who get onto a campaign and fill all those details in there are serious people because they know they're exposing themselves to the market. But because I have people in my teams who are not able to convert these and don't have the right attitude towards leads, I have to put more money, run more campaigns, compete against more agencies to get leads, most of which I'm wasting without ever sitting down and evaluating the selling approach and the effectiveness of the skills of my people. So what do I do now? I put more money. I go on another roach. I start doing this. So this is one challenge that has happened. Companies want to put their money in leads, but they want to see the returns from those leads as well. When they feel they're not getting a lot of returns, that's a lot of money being wasted. And then some of them just get into a lot of generic lead generating campaigns. They prefer to purchase data, or they'll ask people to come, go out and make your own network. The whole business model has to be evaluated again by these agencies. Some agencies are doing very well on their lead generation, great leads qualified, and very good closures. That's because they've got their heads on right, they've done their homework, they've eliminated all the red flags in the system, and they're doing well. The others are just monkey see, monkey do, mass operations. Just run so much, I'll get something. They're the ones who are losing out.
And this is affecting, again, the market.
100%.
Okay. Miras, Dubai Properties, Nakhil, and Maidan. From your perspective, how is that going to shape the market in the next 10 years?
I think it's going to be a very, very positive move for the market. First thing we need to understand, all of them coming under Dubai Holding, right? Dubai Holding is Sheikh Mohammed's personal corporate folio. Okay, it's his personal corporate folio, which is the reason why this announcement was made by the ruler himself and not just coming from the media office. So it's his personal portfolio. So his name and his brand is attached to that portfolio. There is no way he's going to do something that will not productively enhance his own brand as well as the city of Dubai. So there's going to be a very strong positive outcome from this. He even mentioned it is to align with the 2033 agenda of Dubai, because hospitality, tourism are big on the agenda, infrastructure, because we're doubling our economy. Emaar has been the giant all along, and they're the largest international developer in the world. Total asset value of around $130 billion is what they carry in the market. Now, Dubai Holding was already at 130 billion, but now they're going to expand even further. They're probably going to become the first 1 trillion dirham company here, because now you've got the giants like Nakhil's and the Maidans and Mirases all coming together. In line with that vision, because you see, we want to become the #1 city in the world for tourism, for hospitality, not just business and infrastructure. So Emaar will drive the developments in the city for sure going forward. A lot of waterfront lifestyles, hospitality, team resorts, parks, which Miras is known for all these, will all be coming under the Dubai Holding umbrella. They already are operating with 20,000 employees in 13 countries. When you want to be the best city in the world, you need giants that you can pitch against the best of the world. We have the Emars to do it. Now Dubai Holding is also going to be part of that group of elite top 1% clubs that will attract the investments in here. If you actually look at Dubai Holding, they have done a lot to shape the formation of Dubai already. They already had 2 developers with them. They had T-Com and they had Dubai Properties. But then they were also into the development of infrastructure. You have the internet city, media city, you have the academic city, the studio city. All of these came under Dubai Holding. They're also the second largest stakeholder in Emirates NBD Bank with 14.8% stake.
That's a lot.
Yeah, which is a lot. So they have been involved in the financial infrastructure. Now they're looking at artificial intelligence and technology going forward, because they are in real estate, hospitality, tourism, leisure and entertainment, retail, healthcare, knowledge advancement, and AI. So all of this is coming in. So you have a giant that is literally going to have the map of Dubai in its grasp. And they're going to all in line with achieving the 2033 agenda. Wait and see, some big things are going to start coming out now from Dubai Holding.
A lot of people, sometimes we're speaking to investors, international investors, not speaking about the billionaires, because billionaires already understand where the world is going. But some investor will tell you, Dubai is gonna fall. What do you tell them?
Great question. The first thing you do you respect every client. Remember, the client can come with any attitude. We have to have the right attitude. W. Clement Stone. So the client is carrying either a perception with him, or is just an excuse he could be making with you, or he may have read something somewhere. But they have not qualified the source from where that information comes. I'm sitting with my friend, having a shisha, and my friend owns about 10 properties here. In my mind, I believe that this guy knows what's happening in the market. And then he says, you know what, don't buy now, just wait for some time. Because he's my friend, I trust him. I'm not going to ask him, Hussein, where exactly did you get that from? But now his perception becomes my reality. But let's look at what is happening in the market today. Now, there are 3 ways to look at this to understand where Dubai is going. So the first thing I would do is, let's say Hussein is the person who told me the market is going to fall. The first thing is I will manage Hussein's mental state, because he's not feeling good when he made that statement, assuming it's a genuine concern. If it was an excuse, then it's just an excuse. But if it is a genuine concern, the first thing I will say, Hussein, I'm glad you brought that up. Or, Hussein, I can see this is important. Remove him from his negative mental space back to a neutral space. Then I will ask him the next one. So where exactly did you get this information from? When you ask specific questions like that, they'll give you vague answers. Everyone's talking about it. So you know it is not built on any foundation. But by asking the question, you have shaken the confidence he had when he made the statement. Then is my job after that to explain. There's 3 things that we need to look at. The first thing that we need to look at is all these international reports recognized and accepted for all their predictions on the past performance and future for the best cities in the world. It is these reports, while they're saying that those cities are in the red or having marginal increase, they're putting Dubai up there. So if you can accept all those reports, Knight Frank, CBRE, Savills, Prime Real Estate Index, UBS Global, Bubble Index reports. You have the Henley and Partner. There's the Deloitte reports on Dubai. So there's all of these, which are international reports, companies with legacy, all right, creating these reports. If we can believe them, on everything they're saying about the other cities, why would you not believe them on Dubai? So that's your first thing. Global reports are giving the thumbs up and the green signal here. The second, developers are launching.
They are.
Why would they continue? Are you telling me someone like an EMAR with 23 plus years as the largest international developer cannot figure out that the market is going to fall, and they come out with an announcement with 2 more mega communities worth 96 billion? A Damak with so much of experience is now announcing another mega community. The Palm, Jebel Ali, has barely been touched on launches. So are we saying that these giants with good market intelligence, good association with the government, and access to the vision and future, all of them don't know what they're doing? But you, Hussein, you know what's happening. So the reality on the ground is every report, thumbs up, all developers supporting it, all newspapers carried Dubai to face shortage of homes in both ultra high net worth as well as affordable category. Okay, so now we got the reports. We also have the launches on the ground. But then, is anyone buying? Everything is selling out. So the reality on the ground, Mr. Investor, is multiple launches happening. Okay, aggressive vision of the city, doubling of the economy in the next 10 years, every international report giving green light, and every property being sold out on launches. Where are you getting your information from?
And from there, you can take them to the next step to qualify and then understand.
Exactly. And use the numbers. Last year, we had a record year, 634 billion.
Dr. Anand, not only one. I understand that you're coming from a different model and you prefer numbers, you prefer facts, and that's why you're so educated. Like, I'm always impressed with the amount of knowledge you have. But most probably, give yourself a time, which is an hour or 2 every day, to read, to understand, to focus about the market, to know the numbers of the market, to understand what's going on, which is, unfortunately, it's not really easy to find in Dubai. For example, for me, I always open Dubai Rest app every day to understand, okay, how many transactions happened, how many are we, and everything in order to understand where are we going. And whenever we check a lot of companies, even Astic was doing that, monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually or annually. And then from there, you can tell people what's happening in order to respond to whatever is happening in the next months. Because I focus more on international buyers. And they are not people who live in Dubai. They're people who live abroad, so they're really like, yes, we know Dubai is good, but we don't understand how it goes. Specifically, British citizen, because they don't pay down payment. They're not really exposed to off-plan properties. So either it's ready and they pay nothing, the bank pays everything, and they just keep on paying money to the bank, or they're not really exposed to off-plan properties and they don't have such big developers like here, like a developer who have thousands of properties. It's not there. So I focus more on numbers, for example, in Europe, UK, the US, Canada, Australia, for example. Like right now, Sydney, last year it was better than Dubai. This year,
100%.
a lot of people are coming to Dubai from Sydney itself.
Yes.
So why do I know those numbers? Because I understand it's important for what we're trying to do in the future. Again, I understand that because you taught us those kind of stuff. But a lot of agents who are being in the market today, again, I was speaking with Salah Tabak and I was like, I'm telling them what's happening in Paris, and then they tell me, why would I be interested in what's happening in Paris? And he's an agent in Dubai market. So
okay, see, you said a lot there, and I'll give you answers to all of this, okay? The first thing is, you're right, international investors, their frame of reference, their knowledgeable frame of reference is what's happening in their countries. But we are not them.
yes.
But now you're looking to buy here. I get that you understand your markets and you have confidence in it. But when you are it's very simple. In Rome, you do as the Romans do.
Yes.
Right? You have to study the market you're getting into. And don't benchmark an off-plan driven market against a secondary driven market. When 94% of your properties, US, UK, are all secondary, how are you even comparing that market to an off-plan driven emerging market? Wrong comparison to start with. And also, even more important now, why you use the international reports. For example, UK, use Knight Frank. Everybody in the UK recognizes Knight Frank. They recognize the Savills report, the Henley and Partner. These are all originating from the UK. That is the reason why you use international reports. If you use a local one, they'll say they are biased to Dubai.
Yeah, exactly.
This is it. That's the one thing. Our third thing I'd give here is it doesn't take 1 or 2 hours. You see, what I love about that is information I have, the interpretation of it, and the amount I share does create the perception, man, he spends at least an hour, 2 hours a day. No. I don't spend more than 10 minutes a day. The reason I know so much is because I've disciplined myself for that 10 minutes every day. I look at all the 4 major newspaper headlines. I go to the Dubai Rest app. I look at Property Monitor. I know what's happening in the city. And the reason I do this is because I love Dubai and I love real estate. And when you do that, you will automatically pick up the information. I don't get a call from the ruler's office telling you, oh, by the way, we're launching this thing this week. Oh, by the way, this is the interpretation of this move. By the way, Imar is coming. Imar doesn't call me and tell me. Nobody calls me. I love my city and I love my industry, so I make the effort to find out. And when you use it every day, it just grows onto you so much. It impacts your belief, your confidence, the authority with which you speak. And that's when people look at it and say, my goodness, this guy is an expert. 10 minutes a day. Anyone can do that out there. That's all you got to do. You'll be in a different position.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So challenges and trends. What do you see regarding real estate education in Dubai and UAE, considering the rapid changing in the market?
Okay. Rapid change is something we're going to have to learn to live with. When you have a city where 25 to 27 years ago, Sheikh Mohammed said, I want the best city in the world.
Which is
we are on track to get that, right? The Dubai Urban Master Plan. 2040, we will be number 1 on the planet by 2040. My personal view, I cannot quote any source on this. I don't think we'll take till 2040. When the Dubai, the D33 agenda was announced on the 4th of January last year, 2023. In 10 years, there was an agenda. We are already number 3 that year in August with a survey from The Economist. So we took a year to get to number 3. We are not going to take another 17 years to get to number 1. But that is only my personal view. I have to make that clear. But I'm 1,000% convinced about it. Okay, so that's the first thing here. Second thing is I'm not ready as a ruler of this city, Sheikh Mohammed. I'm not ready to wait 50 years to become number 1. Maybe other cities took 50 years, 100 years to do that. I don't want to do that. So if I have to go to number 1 and I have to go fast, then there is going to be rapid expansion. That means the companies here that want to be part of that future are going to have to switch into a different gear. They are going to have to become proactive. Study the D33 agenda. Study the 2040 master plan. Look at all the major new launches, developments like the Dubai Holding initiative that's happened now. Study these things. Put yourself out into the future. Understand why is 2.5 million people coming in the next 10 years here, 250,000 every year. How come? How are we planning to take our GDP from 14.6 trillion to 26.2 trillion in just 10 years? Why did we become number 1 on the planet, or our target is to have 650 billion FDI coming in? We're opening 3 business corridors, Latin America, Southeast Asia, Africa. We're adding 400 cities into our business routes in the next 10 years. That's 40 cities a year. Do you know what that means? 4 cities every month. 1 new city every week in the Dubai map. Look at that. How do you expect to do that without real estate booming? I need commercial infrastructure, I need retail, I need hotels, I need malls, I need nightclubs, I need beaches and parks and entertainment, residential communities, towers, office space, warehouses. How do I double my economy without this? So when we look at real estate separate from the economic agenda, then we're wondering what's going on here. Now, I don't expect the buyer in the UK or in Australia to understand these. That is why you're here as a broker. You are an ambassador for the city of Dubai first, then for property.
That's really nice. Okay, so what's happening in the city is something that we can see. So sometimes people who live in Dubai, and I tell them, okay, this project, for example, if we're speaking about Dubai South, at some point, townhouses in Dubai South was being sold for 1.1 million, and people were saying, it's far, there's nothing that's going to happen there, and now the price point is 3 million. Namak Hills 2, similar. The price point was under the ground for a townhouse. You could have bought a townhouse for 700,000 dirhams. People were saying it's
People
far.
were renting for 48,000
and 35.
Yeah.
Now the new index is saying it's from 90 to 120. So the rental index for Dubai Land Department. The whole idea, every single place in this city is an opportunity.
100%.
From my point of view.
100%.
Yet you're gonna find a lot of products that's gonna bring you the right returns and the right price appreciation. Again, there are products for price appreciation, products for return of investment, products for high return of investment, and everything have its own price. What do you think about that?
Again, very simple to answer. You go into a department store. You have a whole range of things, right?
Yes.
You know what you want. So you go to that part of the department store and you invest your time and effort there, and you'll come away with something that makes you happy. You don't have to go to the other parts of the store.
Yes.
Don't waste your time there. So we are building a city. So when you're building a city, there'll be different stratas, levels at which people will come in. Lifestyles will be different. Opportunities will have to be different. Some areas will be purely commercial, some will be retail, residential, some will be touristic. So you're building a city. So when you build a city, multiple types of product will come in, different entry points, all targeting a very different kind of homeowner or investor. Our job is simply to make sure who are you and what's the reason you are looking to invest. I then zone you only into those parts of Dubai. Let's just forget the rest. You don't need that at this point. In the grand scale of things and where Dubai is going as a city, I will present that to you. But when it comes to you making a decision, you don't even have to go to that area.
Yes.
So that's what we do. To answer also this question about Dubai South, it's out there, there's nothing happening. Now we know what's happening in that area. The Damak Hills too, which you talked about. Finally, Emaar came there with the valley.
Exactly.
So two of the most visible and aggressive developers here, brands of Dubai, are now next to each other there.
Which is gonna...
So again, when Emaar had Arabian ranches, 2004, everybody said it's in the middle of the desert, there's a global village next to that. Who will go to global village? Have you seen that whole area today?
Yes.
What people have not understood is there are certain opportunities that are immediate or short term in the city. Then there is, in line with economic agendas and future evolution of the city, you launch some things to give early mover advantage to some people, but those are long-term investments. So they would come in at very, very attractive points because even we recognize you will make your return long term. So we cannot really pressurize you on a high point of entry. But we give you that first mover advantage. And eventually those rocket. A lot of people will come into those areas when it is popular. They will buy expensive.
Exactly.
They will make lesser returns, but they'll still make returns. The ones who were really laughing at that time were the early movers.
When I bought my first townhouse here, my friends did visit me in the townhouse, and for them at the beginning it was, why are you going there? It's far. And then when they started coming there, they were like, why don't you bring us a unit next to you? And it was already up, like there's nothing that I can do now.
They'll pay double the amount.
I bought in, and specifically townhouses, usually townhouses appreciate faster than apartments if it's not a prime, like a beachfront apartment or whatever. And townhouses are usually more affordable. So it's easier to buy a townhouse which is more affordable away from the city, not in the heart of the city, and you're paying a specific amount. Or you buy something which is beachfront and it's going to appreciate faster than other areas as well. If you have this long view, as you said, like if you're looking forward, like next 5 years, next 10 years, you're definitely going to make money, you're not going to lose money.
Exactly. That is why I'm saying the city offers you short-term alternatives, gives you long-term alternatives, gives multiple. Let's first decide why you are looking at buying. Then we look for the best one for you. You don't have to worry about anything else in the city.
Okay. Off-plan or ready properties from your point
For
of
me,
view?
right now, off-plan.
Okay, why? Because off-plan, we came to a point where off-plan is more expensive than ready.
No, I disagree actually on that. And I've done some podcasts on this. The first thing is you never compare an off-plan product to a secondary. They're two completely different products. Let's not compare it. So today, why is off-plan more expensive? Firstly, there is more demand today than there was a few years ago.
Exactly.
Whenever there is demand, it will fuel something. I can go now and book a new BMW car, which I will only get 6 months later in some cases, the electric version. Or even if it is not electric, I will pay more now. But the same model 4 years ago is not the same. How can I compare something from the past with something that is the future? That's what we have come to this moment in time where I'm buying now, but you have to understand the value, the true value of that property. The benefit was the first buyer who bought it 3 years ago.
Exactly.
You are paying a whole lot more for that, and you will pay upfront. When you come into a new project right now, you will get the earliest entry point into that particular project. You will get a soft payment plan, and you will make a much higher return than you would make now. Second, so what can you use as a good comparison? You don't compare off plan to ready.
Yeah.
What you want to compare is if I'm coming in as an investor, in both cases, dirham to dirham that I put in each, for every dirham that I put in a ready unit today, how much will I make this year? 8%.
Okay.
In that category,
Yeah.
short term, you can go 12, 13%.
Yeah.
So that is what I will make. On an average across the city between 7 and 8%. So for every dirham I put in the ready investment now, I make 8%.
Yeah.
In the off plan, last year we closed at 17.4.
Yes.
And if you are exiting in 24 months, you can make anything between 35 to 45%. So from an investor perspective, which one gives you more return?
Off plan.
So don't look at the entry point of the price there and entry point here. You're an investor. What you should look at is for every dirham that I put there, and for every dirham that I put here, how much am I going to make?
Which is something which is really like, again, one of the best answers that I've ever heard regarding this particular thing, because a lot of investors will tell you, why would I buy off plan if this is the price point and the ready property is this? And whenever I'm discussing it with them, I'm telling them, okay, this guy bought, for example, Arabian Ranches 3, price point 3 years back was 1.4 for a 4-bedroom townhouse. Now it's 3 million, right? People who bought on September, October, November, and December last year, which is like 3 months back, now they bought it for 2.9 and 3 million. Now the price point is 3.6.
Yeah.
It's still going up. So the whole idea is, if someone bought, for example, Naya, for example, or we're speaking about something new, how's it gonna go? The Valley by Amar. If you bought it for 1.2, 1.5 years back, now it's 2 million, 2.2 million, 2.3 million, and it's gonna keep on going until it's 3 million or 4 million. Because again, Dubai is not expanding toward Sharjah or Abu Dhabi, right? We're expanding toward
into the desert.
Into the desert.
Right. See, again, I'll just interrupt you there. One is, yes, as an investor, evaluate return.
Yes.
One. Second thing, if the secondary market is cheaper today, and if that's obvious, why is every single off-plan launch selling out? Why? Are you saying you figure out this concept, but all those thousands and thousands of millionaires couldn't figure it out? What have they understood that you have missed?
I believe some of them don't really get the information right. For example, because when I'm speaking to some of the investors, I say, why didn't you leave the check? For example, why didn't you transfer the expression of interest? Because no one is gonna do like before. Like, it's going really fast. So no single developer will book a unit for you without the expression of interest. It doesn't work like that.
I mean, if the market is going fast, would you agree there's demand?
Yes.
Yeah. If there is demand, would you agree that people are actually buying?
Yes.
So therefore prices will be up. So what are we talking about, this comparison?
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't compare something from 4 years ago to today.
Yeah.
Think of how much this will be worth 4 years from now. So calculate your return. Secondly, communities for today are a lot more complex. They offer better lifestyles. More signature brands are coming in. More comprehensive communities with everything. We're now putting beaches in the desert in our communities which were never there before.
True.
That is part of the demand, and you pay for that lifestyle. So even within a community, you can have earlier products which were launched will be cheaper than the ones being launched now. That is because it was launched earlier. So it's in any industry. People are okay to accept this concept of a newer product being more expensive in any other industry, but no, real estate I will not accept.
I'm not going to accept real estate. Don't tell me that about real estate. True. So I've never seen it that way. It's really funny. Okay, so we speak with some investors and they tell you, okay, the market is going to correct itself or crash in 2 years, for example. Usually my answer is, even if a correction happened, it's really good for the market, it's healthy, because even though after the correction, the market goes up again. Right?
I wouldn't go that way.
Okay.
Why? Firstly, I need to find out, is he giving this as an excuse not to buy?
Okay.
So if it is not even his genuine objection, sometimes you will use what you hear everywhere in the market.
True.
Everyone will tell you prices are high. Gaza war is still going on. Interest rates are not coming down. UK has gone into this. Everybody knows these things. But did anybody sit down and really understand the dynamics of that and its impact on Dubai? No, they didn't do it, but they'll throw it. So don't answer those. Why? If it is not a genuine objection, even if you answer it, there's no deal coming after that.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't the real objection. So I first need to qualify the objection. Second thing is, that's why I challenge them. Said, where exactly did you get that from, that there is a correction coming? We have 250,000 people coming every year for the next 10 years. Population of 3.65 million now is going to 6 million in 2033, with an average of 250,000 coming every year. Average handovers every year now is around 20,000 units average handover for the next 5 years. We're expecting anything between 26,000 to 32,000 this year, 37,000 next year. And then there is a drop off in handovers, and then they will pick up again in 27 and 28, because whatever's launching now will come at that time. So we need 50 to 60,000 new homes every single year for the next 10 years in Dubai. We're getting 20,000 homes on an average coming out. We are short 40,000 homes every single year for the next 10 years. Where do you see the correction coming from? So people will tell you, historically, they'll look at the past market. This is what they did. If you look last year, many of the newspaper articles or people were saying, we have not yet hit the 2014 peak. Why were they saying that? Because after 2014, correction started. So they were referencing historically to another market. Off-plan crossed that peak in September of last year. By end of last year, secondary crossed the peak. And is it coming down? It's going up. So firstly, what they confidently said last year is not happening. 2 years ago, people said correction. It's not happening. That's one thing. Secondly, you have to understand the Dubai of 2024 is not the same as the Dubai of 2014. 10 years ago, we didn't have the same Dubai. We never had golden visas for people to come and pick up property. We never had an economic agenda that will double our economy in 10 years. We didn't have the 2033. We never had a District 2020. We never had the Dubai South. The biggest airport in the world had not opened. The Chinese president had not put 3.5 billion into the first major trade market in Dubai South. We did not have the population increase targeted at 2.5 million. The population will grow by 70% in the next 10 years. So how do you compare 2014 and the Dubai of 2014? In 2014, we were not the third most powerful city in the world. We were not planning to become number one. We did not have the highest foreign direct investment. How are you comparing this city to that? We are a future-based industry. We are not a fossil. Don't go back to Jurassic Park. Come with us into the future.
Which makes sense as well. And safety as well plays a big factor. Like coming to that, 2014, a lot of major cities in the world was more safe. Nowadays, it's not as safe as it used to be.
That is why the millionaires are now leaving and coming here with their families.
Yes,
so that is a feather in our cap. In 10 years, we have overtaken everyone. We've been the safest city and the cleanest city for the last 3 years. Sheikh Mohammed made the announcement himself last year. So we are defying all odds. And in this market, you expect prices to go down?
No. Not me. Not me. Okay. What do you tell people who want to join Dubai real estate market?
What do I tell them? If you are genuine, if you have an absolute belief in yourself, and you can see that you can be a huge asset to the city first, please come.
Okay.
If you're here just because you sniff the money and you don't honestly care about anybody, stay where you are. Clear my message. Second, if you're in the first, because I'm not interested in the second group at all. If you are genuine and you really, really want to do well, please come. This city has the opportunities for you, and we want people like you. But when you come, be very careful who you listen to. New people are highly absorbent. I want to learn. I don't have past exposure. I don't have contacts. So I will naturally listen to someone who's been here for a year, 2 years, 5 years. But be very, very careful. You don't have the market maturity yet to decide if the person you're talking to is the right person or not. So be very careful. Choose the right sources. Bring your dreams and come. This is the city of dreams. We would love to have you with us. Let's all make Dubai number one, and let's make our industry number one. So my advice to you is just two. Check your intent first. And second, be very careful who you will speak to and engage to when you come here. Remember the A, B, C, D, E that we talked about in the podcast? Check yourself against those. Give yourself a rating on a 0 to 10. If on an attitude, genuinely check yourself, because you know you can't fool yourself. Give yourself, and if your scores are an 8 and above on those, please come. You're the kind of person we want in our city.
If not,
stay where you are. You're destroying that place anyway. Keep doing it.
And the point is, people think that Dubai is, or the UAE is in general, it's very easy to live in, to make money, and which is not true. You work really hard to make money. Whenever you work very hard, yes, it becomes easy after a while, but not from day one.
That is a global principle. People go to New York with the aspiration to have a good life. People go to Sydney, Australia to do it. They migrate to Toronto to do the same thing. They come to Mumbai from the villages because they have dreams. Dreams will be there. There's nothing wrong with dreams, but I need to act on my dreams. It's the same about Dubai. You can make money in Jeddah today. You can make it in Bahrain. You can go to Korea and make it today. You can do it in Malaysia and Thailand. But the point is, hard work must be there everywhere. In fact, that was in my ABCD. The H was the hard work in that. So I have never found successful people wasting time and just relaxing. It's not that they're greedy for money. They have enough money for the next 10 generations. And what drives them is the value they add and what they do. That excites them. And they always want to do it better, more effective, and with more creativity than the previous ones. So they're pushing themselves to the next levels. The money is an offshoot of what comes. So hard work, there is no excuse from this. This has to be there. We don't have today. We go, why are we spending our time doing this to help people in the city? People will listen to these, change their thinking, use some of the answers, close deals, feed their family, and we will not even know who these guys are. It doesn't matter. We will still come and invest our time, effort, energy, and our knowledge because we want people to go to the next level because you are in a city that is operating at the next level.
That's really nice. Social media. Nowadays, most of the realtors, including all of most of the realtors right now are spending a lot of money on their brand on social media.
Yes.
Spoke with multiple agents. I was like, now it's very challenging. You need to spend on your social media to promote yourself. And some of them will tell me it's expensive. It doesn't worth it.
The same guy will go tonight, weekend, to a bar. He'll spend 400 dirhams, get himself drunk. He'll flush it down the toilet the next day, and that wasn't expensive. But to put 50 dirhams, 100 dirhams every week into doing some social media activity, that is expensive for him. These guys are losers. They're not going to make it. Let's just not waste our time with them. I'm sorry. I speak strongly about those kind of people. Why social media works? Today, the world is connected.
Yes.
How are people in Australia going to know about you? How will Toronto know about you? How will Beijing get to know about you? And everybody is connected digitally today. 1 out of every 3 buyers in the market today are millennials.
Yes.
They are digital kids. So how are you even going to be visible with these people if you're not investing in your social media? So also, The social media is created not just to reach out to them, to create legacy for yourself. So let's say I'm reaching out to Hussein. One of the first things I'll do today is get online to see who is Hussein, right?
Check the social media. This is what we do now.
So we need not just social media presence, we need relevant social media presence.
Yes.
I've seen people, you look at the Instagrams, it's a mix and match of everything. People sitting on beaches, showing legs with a cocktail glass. And then the next video, they're promoting amazing opportunity in Tilal Al Ghaf. Keep your social to yourself.
Yeah.
But when you're on business, if I'm coming onto your platform or your social media, I'm not coming there to check out your legs.
Yeah.
I'm coming there to check out who you are in relation to real estate and opportunity, and are you the person I should work with?
Yes.
Keep your business, social media, excellent. I personally, and I say this to everybody, go to my Instagram right now. Show me one personal thing in there. It's about business. And that's why they must make it relevant.
Yeah.
How much do they put? Just putting videos because there's this new apartment, there is a new launch. You know, when you put a new launch that's coming, if a Damak is doing a new launch and you put something, 3,000 agents are putting the same thing.
Exactly.
I, as a millionaire, am getting 70 PDFs from people on the same thing. That is not social media relevance.
Yes.
How do people know who you are and have the confidence that they will work with you because you're putting PDFs of launches?
No, they don't. The point is a lot of, again, yes, everyone is putting the same product because the market is like that.
Yeah.
But for example, me personally, I don't sell every single product. I'm a pro Damak, I'm pro Amar. I'm doing both. Like when someone tells me Damak is delayed on the delivery or whatever, I ask the same questions that, where did you hear that from? Because yes, some of the products were delayed, and we all know the reason of this specific project. And a lot of the products were not delayed, were delivered ahead of time. Some products are really good, some products are not the best. It depends on the price point. We all understand that. So some point they send a specific product and they tell me, okay, are you going to sell that? And I say, I'm sorry, this specific product, I'm not going to touch. Even for Amar, some specific floors, we don't sell to our clients because we do want the client to be like coming again. Like I need his friends, I need his family, I need everything. I need this client to buy from me again. So I want to bring the best product that can make him win, can make me win, because I'm gonna be the one who's selling it again if it's the right product. He's gonna bring me his friends if he was happy with this specific product. So I'm always trying to do that. And social media is a specific proof that this is happening because I don't come every day to show 10, 20 products. Every specific period, I show a good product that I'm willing to sell and I'm willing to take care of what's going to happen next. I'm going to be with you throughout the whole process until you want to resell it or rent it out. And I believe that some of the agencies are lacking this nowadays because there's a lot of launches and they want to sell anything and they're not specialized in a specific product. When someone asks me what do you sell, I say Amar, Damak. And now, in the main period, I'm very good with, for example, Sel Ben Ghati or Danube because they have their own clientele database or criteria. So I focus on 4 projects. I'm not an expert in Nakhil, for example, so I can't sell you something on the pond. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. See, I think the selling approach is built on strategy. Different companies can adopt their own strategy. It's their right to do business. Yeah. The most important thing is have a strategy first. Then all your marketing, setting up your selling systems, your CRM approaches, the reach outs, your campaigns are built on that strategy. Yes. You recruit people based on that. You coach and train based on that. And that's where you do your network and your closures. So that is a business strategy. Yeah. So I'm comfortable with the idea that certain people would want to sell only certain things. Certain people are looking at some other specifics. Exactly. That's okay. That's a strategy. Nothing wrong with that. What's important is the professional approach in each of these strategies. That's the only thing that I'm concerned.
Yeah, but if you're trying to bring someone who sells on the palm, is he going to be really focused if he's selling a studio in JVC?
No, that's what I'm saying. It is based on strategy.
Yeah.
If I've decided to focus with JVC developers and give lower entry point products, but with very good attractive returns, then I'll hire people who have been doing that before, or I bring new people and coach them into that. Why would I bring a luxury high-end Emirates Hills person or a Blue Waters to sell something in a JVC? So that is, again, like I said, your recruitment, your selling system, your approach is all based on your strategy.
Okay, so strategy when it comes to a brokerage company. If someone is asking, okay, I want to open a brokerage company today in Dubai, steps to do that.
Okay, the first thing, question your intent.
Okay.
Why do you want to set up a brokerage? If the answer is I want to make money, you can make money selling boats. Yes. You can make money selling fruits and vegetables. Barakat is a billionaire today. He specializes in juices and fruits. Pineapples and cabbages is what he's selling to agencies, to hotels, institutions and hospitals. The guy is a billionaire doing that. Why do you want to set up a real estate business? What is your intent? One. Secondly, how do you plan to be a strong contributor to the economic and social infrastructure of Dubai? Remember, you cannot just come into the city today to take money from it. Every time someone comes in, you become part of the infrastructure fabric of the city. The personality of the city, the attractiveness of the city can be impacted positively or negatively by your entry. So ask, why are you here in the first place? The second thing is, how do you plan to make a difference to Dubai, and how are you going to contribute and partner with the ruler and his advisory committees to take this city to the next level? Second. Third, what is your DNA and personality for the brand you want to create in that market? Then you build your entire strategy based on that. That's what you got to look at. 4. You have to be able to, you're in a business where you are telling people to invest to make a return. Why would you not invest to make a return for yourself? I'm not talking buying property. Invest in your own company. Why would you not invest in your people? Why would you not invest in your systems? You want return. I'll buy a system and you want magic? Invest in the system. I'll recruit people, invest in them. You'll get a return. I want to do road shows, invest in it, you'll get a return. So you need to invest in it and commit to that. And most important, create a strong selling management structure, and don't let individuals within your business shift you from the original reason why you came in. Run based on systems, not on personalities of people. I'll hire a head of sale today. He will tell me, this is not a great system. Let's move from this to this, or let's change this. And you go and change. He's gone in a year's time, set up his own brokerage, or you terminated him. Now, another guy comes, he says, no, this is not a good system. Now you change again. And every time a new person comes, you keep changing your system, your business approach, your selling structures. Where is your own personality as a company? You will keep changing every time a person comes. It also suggests you never made good decisions in the beginning itself. Because when Mr. A showed up, you made a decision which confirmed he is the guy. Now Mr. B showed up and you changed. So what happened? Was your decision with Mr. A wrong?
Okay.
So you're changing now to Mr. B. Then Mr. C comes. So now you made a mistake again. You made it first with Mr. A. You made it again with Mr. B. Now you're going with Mr. C. Do you even know what you're doing?
Most probably in this market, a lot of people want to open brokerage company without understanding what's behind it.
Honey attracts flies, right?
Exactly.
Not just in brokers, even in the agencies.
But at the end of the day, for example, if I have the capacity of wanting to train my team, for example, I'm going to go for someone who knows how to train the team, who knows how to bring them on a better track when it comes to training, for example. If I need to focus on recruiting, as you said, I'm going to focus on a good recruiter, and he's going to come join the company to focus on bringing me a specific calibers, right? And this is not happening nowadays, except in some big companies.
There are
and that's
some
why
agencies who are doing a great
That's
job.
why they're very successful.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, some of them.
So I'm going to quote really quick. We have 4 minutes left. I'm going to quote really quick from the Rera book. And I want your opinion on it. You're required to dress appropriately, show respect, please, ladies and gentlemen. No bare hands or legs. Arms or legs. Preferably wear a jacket. What do you think about that? Specifically is what we're seeing today.
Completely support it.
Okay.
Firstly, look at us, professionally presented. Yes. Respect the culture of the place where you live in, all right? Because the culture is our heritage. We don't want to destroy culture at the expense of doing business.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's what sets us apart and makes us beautiful, and we are part of the fabric of the globe. Right? So respect it.
Don't promise anything you can deliver for sale or winning listing from a client.
Okay, let me put it the other way. When clients promise you, don't worry, Hussein, I am coming.
Yes.
And they don't come, how do you feel?
Frustrated.
So why would you do it to people?
Exactly. Okay. Don't promise future profit.
Yes. Give them indicators based on factual studies and trends supported with data, but you can never promise anything. Another COVID could come.
Yes.
Right?
True.
So be fact driven, because every business predicts and projects earnings based on reports, trends, and past history. Do the same.
Okay. Don't advertise any property too high or too low in price.
Yeah, obviously, because people can do research.
Yeah.
They are also working with other brokers, not just you. So an educated professional broker will highlight to them which one is the really relevant one, and you're going to lose.
Okay. Do involve your client with any issue regarding the deal. Do educate your client. Do tell your client about any offer you receive, even if you think the price is low.
Always. Just because you tell him that there's a price low coming, but I'm telling you, doesn't mean he's jumping on the low offer.
Yes.
It doesn't mean your seller will say, I'm not interested. At least he trusts you, that saying, I want to see that you're giving me feedback. Sell your effort.
Yes.
Come back to people. So that is all right.
So today you're traveling to India to get a reward for the an award for the fastest GCC leader brand in 23-24.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that for the empowered performer?
No, it is for the leader brand. That is me.
That's you.
Not the company brand. So fastest growing in terms of visibility, impact, in terms of they study everything about you, the comments, the feedback. They do
I learn a
background
lot
checks.
from your videos.
Yeah.
Personally, to be honest, like since we met first in 2016, I do try my best to get more and more knowledge from you, because again, what I believe in, you always need to learn from people who have better experience in specific things, and specifically that you're focused on both. You're focused on real estate and you're focused on training, which training is number one. Real estate isn't the same criteria. You're really good in both. And learning from people who have such experience will always be beneficial for you. So I really like your videos. I love it, and I get a lot of info out of you.
Well, thank you. That's exactly why we do it.
Exactly.
Every one of us become first an ambassador for Dubai, and then only for your business.
True, true. Dr. Anan Menon, it's pleasure meeting you.